There is a moment, one precious, invisible moment just before the harvest breaks through the soil, where the roots of prosperity have stretched far beneath the surface, unseen by the eyes of the impatient. This is when most people quit. But I tell you now with unwavering certainty, when you feel like giving up, when you think nothing is happening, that's when prosperity is already on its way. The universe does not pay on the day of work, it pays on the day of faith, the day you keep going even when nothing seems to move. Prosperity has laws. It is not random. It does not favor the lucky. It favors the prepared. If you are not seeing the results you want, it is not because you are cursed nor because you are unworthy. It is because your harvest is still beneath the surface, being tested, strengthened, stretched. And your job is not to panic. Your job is to trust the process. The signs of incoming prosperity are often disguised as opposition. Your relationships begin to shift. Distractions intensify. You may feel isolated, as if the very ground beneath you is shaking. But listen to me. That shaking is not destruction, it's alignment. Your old identity must crack before the new one is revealed. The door to riches is hidden behind the collapse of comfort. If you are uncomfortable, it means your mind is being pried open for new vision. Prosperity comes not to the strongest, not to the smartest, but to the man who refuses to quit when nothing is working. You must understand this truth. The darkest moment comes just before the dawn. That is not poetry, that is law. So if life has been heavy, silent, full of resistance, celebrate. That means the pressure is forming something of value within you. But here is what separates the few who receive prosperity from the many who merely dream about it. They respond to pressure with preparation, not panic. They look at the storm and say, this is my test. This is where I prove who I am. And that mindset is the exact vibration that causes opportunity to recognize you. You do not become rich by accident. You become rich by internal shift first. Before you get the money, the promotion, the business, the influence, you must become the version of yourself who can handle it. Otherwise, even if it came to you, you would lose it. Because your habits would not be able to hold what your hands tried to carry. So if you want to know whether prosperity is on its way, look not to your bank account. Look at your growth curve. Are you learning? Are you being stretched? Are you doing the hard, uncelebrated work daily? Are you still moving when nobody claps? Then I promise you, you are closer than you think. One of the devil's greatest lies is this. If you were meant to succeed, it would be easier. Do not believe this lie. Success is never born from ease. It is born from repeated discipline, aligned vision, and persistent action, especially in silence. In fact, I will tell you, if your life feels silent right now, you are in the perfect position, because silence is the womb of transformation. Most people need noise, validation, likes, applause, and because they chase that noise, they lose alignment with their calling. But if you can remain focused while the world is quiet, you are being trusted with something bigger. And here is the deeper secret. The reason you haven't received prosperity yet is not because you are failing, it's because you're being forged. The Creator does not bless the unprepared. He blesses the man who disciplines his emotions, controls his thoughts, honors his word, and keeps walking regardless of mood, circumstance, or opinion. So you must stop saying nothing is happening. You must start realizing everything is happening, just not in a form you recognize yet. What you call rejection is redirection. What you call silence is setup. What you call waiting is actually preparation. The moment you surrender your need for immediate gratification is the moment you step into the mindset of true wealth. This is why I tell you to write your definite purpose, to repeat it daily, to build it into your subconscious, because the mind must believe long before the results arrive. And when they do arrive, they come all at once, like a dam breaking, like rain after drought, like lightning in a night sky, unexpected, overwhelming, undeniable. But the man who receives that blessing is not surprised, he is ready. You must become that man. Do not complain, do not compare. Do not curse the soil while your seed is growing underground. Instead, get to work on becoming the version of yourself who can carry the harvest. Wake up early, read with hunger, train with discipline, speak with clarity, Move with quiet certainty. That is what magnetizes prosperity. Most people live in cycles of failure not because they don't have the talent, but because they keep interrupting the growth cycle with doubt, distraction, and drama. Prosperity requires emotional self-control. You must become the kind of person who can be surrounded by chaos and still stay focused. Because when your mind is unshakable, prosperity follows naturally. Now ask yourself, am I training my focus or feeding my frustration? Am I repeating old habits or rewiring new standards? Am I acting like a beggar or thinking like a builder? Because the man who is building something, even in private, even in struggle, he is the one who will soon walk in overflow. Prosperity does not knock on the door of the undisciplined. It walks silently into the lives of those who are already preparing. So I leave you with this question. If your breakthrough came tomorrow, would you be ready? If not, then today is your test, not a potential, of preparation. Your thoughts, your discipline, your reactions, your habits, these are the signals you send to the universe. And if you can pass today's test, you will step into tomorrow's blessing. You may not see it yet, but the signs are already there. Prosperity does not always announce itself with fireworks and parades. Often it arrives quietly through a new idea, a strange opportunity, or an uncomfortable shift. The problem is not that prosperity hasn't come. The problem is that you haven't trained yourself to recognize it. You keep looking for your harvest in the form of money. But before the money, the universe sends instructions. Before riches come, you are given an assignment, something small, something humble, something that requires faith to pursue and discipline to complete. And that's where most people disqualify themselves. They reject the first sign of prosperity because it doesn't look like a blessing, it looks like work. But I tell you now, work is never your enemy. Work aligned with purpose is the bridge between your belief and your breakthrough. That's why I say, stop chasing money, chase your purpose, chase excellence, chase obedience to your inner voice. The money will come. The first test of prosperity is this: can you be trusted with instruction before reward? The man who prospers is the man who executes without applause. He does not wait to feel ready. He acts, he learns, he adjusts. He does not ask, how long will it take? He asks, how far can I go if I remain faithful every day? You must understand, every day you wake up and follow through on your purpose, you are broadcasting a signal. And the signal says, I'm ready. But every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you send a different signal. I'm not ready yet. The law of prosperity does not respond to your wishes. It responds to your signals. And the strongest signal of all is preparation in silence. Let me ask you, are you sowing when no one is watching? Are you writing the vision even when it feels far away? Are you honoring the small assignments knowing they lead to larger ones? Because when you do, you are aligning yourself with a vibration of increase. You become the kind of person who attracts solutions, ideas, collaborators, and open doors, not by chasing, but by becoming. And this is what separates those who merely desire success from those who live in it. They know that success is not something you catch, it is something you prepare for. Now, let me tell you something most people ignore. Prosperity has a pattern. If you study the lives of those who succeeded, not briefly, but permanently, you'll see the same signs before their breakthroughs. Isolation before increase. The world goes silent. Friends fade. Distractions disappear. Not because you're losing, but because you're being cleared for clarity. Pressure before expansion. Your mind feels squeezed. Old identities begin to die. You feel stretched. That's because your spirit is being resized to hold a greater future. Resistance before reward. Things feel harder, not easier. But that's the gym of the soul. Resistance builds your capacity. And capacity determines how much you can carry. If you're experiencing these things, rejoice. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. But only if you keep going. You see, most men fail not because they lack potential, but because they misinterpret preparation as punishment. They say, if it were meant to be, it would be easier. No, if it's meant to be, it will be tested. Because what comes too easy is never respected, and what is not respected is quickly lost. Prosperity must be earned in the quiet hours of discipline, in the dark days of delay, and in the lonely moments of obedience. So don't ask for ease, ask for strength, ask for vision, ask for the will to keep building even when the world is silent. Because once you master that silence, your voice will command influence. Now let's get practical. What can you do when you feel stuck, when you feel like nothing is moving, when you're not sure if prosperity is even real? You act in faith. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision. It is acting like the future is already true. Here's how you do it. Speak success into your daily routine. Move with excellence, even when the room is empty. Write your goals in present tense. I am not, I hope. Track your wins, even the small ones, especially the small ones. Associate only with people who speak the language of vision. Your job is not to manufacture the results. Your job is to stay aligned. When the time is right, everything will unfold. Quickly, unexpectedly, powerfully. But only if you haven't disqualified yourself in the waiting. Prosperity is a mirror. It reflects your belief. If you believe in shortage, it hides. If you believe in overflow, it reveals itself. So how do you prove your belief? You prepare, not with anxiety, not with desperation, but with calm, consistent, courageous motion. You move with intention. You organize your day. You control your mind. You speak power. You forgive your past. You act like what's coming is already yours. And that mindset is magnetic. It draws people, ideas, capital, strategies, divine timing, everything you once prayed for, now drawn to the version of you that finally believes. Let me leave you with this. The clearest sign that prosperity is near is not that life gets easier. It's that life starts demanding more of you. Your tolerance for distraction shrinks. Your desire for greatness intensifies. Your old circle no longer satisfies you. And your inner voice grows louder than your outer world. When that happens, smile, because it means you're entering alignment. It means the harvest is almost ready. But remember, even when the fruit appears, you must be the kind of man who can carry it with discipline, generosity, and wisdom. That is why you're being prepared. So keep moving. Don't watch the clock. Watch your character. Don't look for signs. Be the sign. Prosperity isn't coming. It's already on its way. Let me tell you something many ignore. Prosperity responds to identity. Not the one you show the world, but the one you repeat to yourself when you are alone. If you see yourself as small, undeserving, broken, or behind, you will attract conditions that confirm that image. But the man who sees himself as powerful, worthy, disciplined, and chosen, he draws prosperity not because of luck, but because his self-concept is aligned with abundance. Understand this. The subconscious mind does not care what you want. It responds to what you believe is true about yourself. So if you say, I want more, but believe I don't deserve it, you will stay stuck. That is why I gave you the self-confidence formula. Not as poetry, but as programming to reshape the image you hold of yourself. Here it is again, and say it aloud. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual law. When you speak with belief and act with consistency, the world must rearrange itself to match your vibration. Because the man who walks like a success before he is seen as one is the man who will soon become one. Now I will give you something even more powerful. Most people ask, when will prosperity come? I say, prosperity is already here, but have you learned how to let it in? The blessings you want are waiting behind doors, called discipline, focus, action, and gratitude. Every time you walk through one of those doors, you unlock another level of access. Let's walk through each one together. Door 1, discipline. Discipline is the foundation of all prosperity. It is the choice to do what must be done even when the feelings aren't there. You must train your body to serve your mind. You must command your focus. Get up when the alarm rings. Follow through on the small promises. Stick to the standard you set. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead anything else. Discipline builds trust in yourself, and trust is the root of confidence. When you walk with confidence, the world listens, and so does opportunity. Door 2, focus. Prosperity cannot reach a distracted man. If your mind is scattered, if you're chasing 10 things, if you cannot stay with one path long enough to see it through, you will always be starting, never finishing. Prosperity rewards the man who can sustain attention, who can say no, who can cancel the noise, who can sit in silence and build. You don't need more time. You need more focus. Even one focused hour a day applied with intention is more powerful than 10 distracted ones. Door 3, action. Action is the lifeblood of prosperity. The man who waits for the perfect moment will wait forever. You must move, even when you're uncertain, even when you're afraid, even when you don't have all the answers. The man who acts learns, the man who hesitates decays. So take the step, make the call, write the page, launch the project, build the habit. Every time you move forward, you send the signal, I am ready. And that signal changes the frequency of your life. Door 4, gratitude. Gratitude is not weakness, it is not soft, it is the most magnetic emotion you can produce. It tells your subconscious there is already more than enough. And from that place you attract more. Gratitude raises your vibration. It moves you from complaint to creation. It silences scarcity and amplifies vision. Every morning, write down 3 things you're thankful for. Say them aloud. Let the emotion rise inside you. And then say, more of this, please. The universe always answers the man who appreciates what he already has. Now listen carefully, because this is the final lesson. Prosperity is not something you get. It is something you grow into. If you chase it from a place of fear, you will repel it. If you try to manipulate it through shortcuts, you will lose it. But if you become the man who is disciplined, focused, courageous, and grateful, you will live in it. Not as a lucky break, as a new normal. You will begin to expect success not because you're arrogant, but because you've earned the right to expect it. And when you expect success, speak success, act success, you create success. That is the hidden law. Your inner world writes the script. Your outer world must follow. So today, decide, I will no longer beg life for blessings. I will prepare myself to receive them. I will no longer sabotage opportunity with doubt. I will meet it with confidence. I will no longer fear delay. I will see it as divine timing. I will no longer shrink in the face of growth. I will expand, stretch, and rise. Because prosperity is not something that visits the lucky. It is the result of becoming the kind of man who walks with clarity, builds with faith, and refuses to quit until the result bows to his belief. So, if you're asking, is prosperity on its way? I'll answer this way. Look in the mirror. If the man looking back is still growing, still moving, still preparing, then the answer is not someday. The answer is yes, it is already here. Now act like it.